in. It's Monday evening. It's 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock already here on the East Coast. My name is Julie Maxon. I am the Maine Stamper. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I live in Maine, USA. So welcome in. This is our weekly card class. This is the time that I like to come on and share 3 different cards using the same bundle. And tonight we are getting a little bit elegant with the florals. We're actually going to be using Lifetime of Love. So my first 2 card classes in January of 2024 came, of course, from the new mini catalog that Stampin' Up has out, and they were more Valentine-y in feeling, right? We had the cute little bumblebees. Hi, Jess. And then last week we did the Adoring Hearts, which I adored, the Adoring Hearts. So we've had a couple of really cute classes where we have had those kind of Valentine-y vibes, right? Now, Forever Loved, you would think, well, that's very Valentine-y too, right? But it's not technically going to be a Valentine class, but it is all about love. Now, you can, of course, use a love-themed card in all kinds of, holiday giving, right? So think about, as you're looking at these cards, and if I use them for a wedding or an anniversary or a love, they can also be a Mother's Day, a birthday for a friend. Like, obviously you can switch out the sentiments and change it up however you want to. They are very elegant cards, and I'm really excited to share this class with you. So please continue to say hi. Oh, Jess is cooking her dinner. I know I changed my time, so it's a little bit earlier for you, Jess. So thanks for checking this out while you're cooking dinner. I hope you're making something good tonight. All right, so everyone say hi as you jump on. I love to know who's hanging out with me here in the craft room. We're gonna get over to my workspace. We're gonna talk about the Forever Love Suite. So again, with love in the name, you know it's going to be very lovely. Let me get you over there, and we're going to talk about what's going on with this beautiful bundle. Now, this is going to be on page 14 and 15. We've got a long spread here, right? 14 and 15 of your mini catalog. So you can see all these gorgeous colors. We've got Moody Mauve, Petal Pink, Pretty Peacock, Very Vanilla, and then the gold foil. So I am using the stamp set, the Lifetime of Love, right? So it's got some great flowers in it. Of course, there's dies. And then sentiments that say forever and always, congratulations on your wedding day, wishing you a lifetime of love and happiness, and love you. So it really is about love. It's great for weddings, anniversaries, and the like, but it can be more than that too. There are some beautiful dies here. Now, what drew me to this particular bundle, not necessarily the stamps, but the dies. I love, just these gorgeous dies right here that provide you with a really delicate oval and circle, and then have all these beautiful details of leaves and flowers in them. Super beautiful. I love these ones very much, and that's what kind of the allure of this bundle really to me was, these 2 background dies that I can see myself using over and over again. And of course, the bundle, when you get the bundle, you're getting 10% savings. Now, we are going to be using some of the things from this suite as well. We're going to be using this beautiful paper. This is going to be the Forever Love Specialty Designer Series paper. You're going to see why it's special as we use them on our cards. And I have designed this class so that you can use either side. You can flip some of your designer papers around. This is going to be a really fun set for you to check out. And your free embellishment with your order this week is going to be these Petal Pink and Pretty Peacock foiled gems. So things right from this suite, from the Forever Love suite. So I'm really excited to share those with you. So again, this is the embellishment, your freebie embellishment with your order. Oh, I didn't write down all my details. Normally I have a little paper that says the details, but here's my host code this week. It is XDTU99RB. So this is a code if you're ordering this week. $40 order is going to get you the card kit. So here's the card kits. Here's a sneak peek at the card kits. I know you wanted to see. What are we doing? We are Very Vanilla, Pecan Pie, Petal Pink, Pretty Peacock. These are our colors, so I hope you can kind of glimpse a little bit how elegant and beautiful these are going to be. So $40 order with my host code is going to get you 2 each of the 3 cards that I'm going to share tonight. When you order $50, you're going to get a free embellishment from me. You're also going to get to pick out a Sale-A-Bration item. So it's a really great time to take advantage of those Sale-A-Bration items. So let's get working on our first card here, because we got stuffs to do, right? So we've got Pecan Pie, Pretty Peacock, and Petal Pink ink. These are my ink colors today. My Petal Pink is very faded, which is kind of difficult to tell that that's actually really petal pink. We're going to be using a couple of different things as we get going here today as well, because I'm going to share some different ways that you can color and use the flowers. Now this will be good for any kind of cards that you're making, not necessarily just these cards. Now I want to also point out, Very Vanilla was one of our colors. All three of the cards, all 6 of the envelopes you're getting with your kits are going to be Very Vanilla. They're not going to be white. They're going to be vanilla. It may be hard to tell. Let me see if I can grab a white envelope real quick. It's going to be hard to tell the difference maybe until I hold up a white. So white here on the left, Very Vanilla on the right. So all of your envelopes for this class. This is a coordinating class. I like to coordinate. So everything is going to kind of go together. This is going to be a great set of cards if you're gifting. All Very Vanilla. So I just wanted to point that out. Very vanilla. So you're not confused when they come in. You're like, why are the envelopes not white? They're vanilla. They go with everything in your kits. And your kits are stuffed. I stuff your kits really well. So we're going to grab out some parts and pieces here, and I'm going to put one together. So you're getting punched pieces. This is from the double oval. And we're going to get some die cuts. I want to point out that these die cuts are my current favorite die cuts. These also are new. These are from the Thoughtful Expressions dies. I actually still have a couple missing here that I used in my card class that I haven't put away yet. I had a weekend in-person class. So I used some of these right here, and I got these great shapes. And I think I might have used these once before. These dies are going to be featured in my January Card Maker Collective Club. And we're also going to be featuring the, so this is the bundle, Thoughtful Expressions. It's got the hummingbird in it. So if you're interested in that, today's the last day to sign up for that and get the January kit. If you want the bundle at catalog price, you let me know and you'll get that too. If you need more details, ask away. So I'm going to just continue to pull apart the kit here so that I can grab out one of everything we need for one card. And as you can see, there's a lot because I like to stuff them pretty good. Okay, we're almost to the end of our layers. And this first card has a Very Vanilla card base, and it's a thick Very Vanilla card base. So there's something different there too. Now here is a little peek at our first card. As you can see, it is really sweet, right? It's got just a beautiful color appeal. It's kind of neutral. And while you may think, I don't know if you think it's too busy or not, you can definitely back off some of those layers if you want to. You don't have to put everything that I'm sending you on one card. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Lexi. Hi, Sandra and Patty. I'm just checking to see you guys are all watching, so I'm so glad to have you on board tonight. I really love the sweetness of this card. So let us put some of these things together. Talk a little bit about the bones. Now I do have a card base ready to go, and we're going to just put some things together here and make a decision. So while you have this great layer right here, which is the pecan, the vanilla, and the paper that I used on my card, you also could flip it over and choose to use the specialty paper. So you can see the glimmer and glitz on here, right? This card would also work with this paper. So you can see here already how gorgeous it would be in either one. So I'm not quite sure that I'm committed to this one yet. So while I think about that, I'm just going to glue a few things together here, and we're going to start kind of working on our card. And I may use the shiny side, I might not. I haven't completely made up my mind. Now again, layers are fun. So please don't be shy about layers, right? Put those pieces to work. These are kind of like the little leftover bits you might have when you're cutting cardstock and you have small scraps like this, 1.25 inch, an inch. Throw them on your cards. Don't throw them in the garbage, right? Put them to use and make your cards interesting. So for this one, we're going to put this right across the width of our card here. It goes side to side, fully across, and it just gives us that little peak of color here on either side. So that's just something you can try with any of the cards that you're making, right? I'm going to go ahead and layer down the vanilla over the pecan, and I'm going to hold off on the designer series paper just for a little bit because I'm really just not quite convinced if I want to use this one or not. I mean, I know it's really pretty, right? Now again, these are little layering pieces, and we're just going to pop these together. When you get these at home, just make sure you're looking for the really nice side. You can kind of tell which side has the stitching that looks better than the other, and you're just going to go ahead and put these together. Just turn them a little bit so that you're getting the edges lined up. So there's some nice little rounded edges in here. I don't think I have that one quite rounded up correctly. So you're going to see here as they curve around, you can make them match perfectly. Now, of course, you could make them not match at all, and that would be the same thing. I'm going to put this on here because I'm still really debating, but I am sharing with you like kind of what the bones of your card would look like. Now you would have this. So if you didn't have the stamp set and dies, you have this, and then you have a few papers left over, which you could stamp some flowers on, maybe punch or die cut something, and you're going to still have a really beautiful card kit, right? So let us do a little bit of stamping here. I'm going to bring in the cutest little daisies, little daisy bouquet. We have an open leaf stamp somewhere. Here it is right here. Now for these ones, I'm going to use Pecan Pie and Pretty Peacock ink. So we're going to take advantage of this piece of paper that I'm sending you, and we're going to get those both stamped on here. So here's our flowers, and this is the easy, it's like the easy button. This is the easy button of putting this together, because for this first card, we're not coloring anything in. We're not doing any techniques. We're just stamping and walking away, basically. I mean, we are going to die cut this. So let me get the leaves on here. Now you could, of course, you could color this in if you wanted to. Watercolor, pencils, you know, some blender pens. I mean, you can go crazy, right, with different things that you could use on this. And then I've got this cute little piece right here, and we didn't talk a great deal about the dies. There's so many things. I talked about the big dies that I love. For this card, I took advantage of this little die right here, and this is going to fit on this tiny little piece of Pretty Peacock. And it gives us these 3 little flowers, which are kind of positioned like they were embellishments. So I like that you can take something that where you might put an embellishment and you can actually add a little bit of cardstock and some fun. The embellishments on this card are actually right here in the daisies. It might be hard to see. I did use the Pretty Peacock colored. Oh no, let me back up. I used the Petal pink colored embellishments on this card, even though there's really no Petal pink on this card. We have Pretty Peacock, and I could have used Pretty Peacock, but because I used the flowers in the blue, I wanted to use the embellishments in the Petal pink. So I already die cut my little flowers. What I didn't do yet is I didn't die cut my other items. So we're going to do a little bit of die cutting tonight because I didn't quite get everything prepped and done ahead of time as I might have liked to have. As mentioned, this is my 3rd week now doing my card class at 7, and I thought, oh yeah, I can do this. I can be ready by 7 o'clock, and then, you know, I'll have a little bit more of the evening to, you know, do other things. And to be honest, I am not usually ready by 7, so I'm trying my best to make this time work. So we're going to see how long it's going to last. So I've got my 2 dies lined right up around the items that I stamped. So our little daisy bouquet and our little open leaf flower. I'm going to grab those off of there. So long story short, we're going to be doing a little bit of die cutting together tonight. So you can see here that I've got these 2 pieces, and we're going to bring our card back in. And other than stamping the love you here on this sentiment piece, we just are down to assembly. I think I might use the shiny side. I think I might do it. Let me find love you. So again, in the sentiments here, most of them are kind of wedding themed or anniversary themed. But we do have a really sweet little love you. So that's what we're going to use right here on our oval. And there we go. These are obviously cling stamps. These are the red rubber stamps. So they are a little bit harder to see exactly where you're stamping. So they, you know, do your best lining up your stamps and stamping on your images. And I know with lots of practice you can do it. So there we go. So here is everything for our card. So I really am, I'm kind of like thinking, let me just, yep, I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it. I don't know if I haven't checked comments recently to see what you guys, if anyone has chimed in to say what you would like. And Jess says she likes the foil side. Hi, Bonnie. Hi, Jody. Committed. Yes. So, okay, we're going to do the foil side. This is what we're doing. So now you're going to see, and if you've got these kits at home, right, you could do one of each too, because you could, I just love that pattern. I think it's really sweet, but we're going to do foil. So foil side up it is, a specialty paper, really pretty. So there we go. Now this one is going to come on here with some dimensionals. So let me see if I can find any. I did pull out a new little sleeve of these today. So when I put this on here with my dimensionals, I already have this piece in the middle that it's 2 layers up, right? We've got the pecan, we've got the vanilla there. So I'm going to go a little dimensional light. Instead of putting anything in the middle, which would raise it even higher in the middle because there's already a little bit of like a bump up there, I'm just going to put 4 in the corners, one in each corner, and we're going to call it good. Now here's where you're going to look at your paper and think about which way you want it to go. Wow, this is a hard decision. All right, I'm going to go this way, I think. Wait, no, I'm going to go this way. Okay, so always flipping the paper on. Now, as I put this on here, basically going to center this kind of side to side, top and bottom, before I commit too much. And I can feel like it's sticking, and I'm ready, and here we go. Okay, good. I like it. So there we go. There's that part. And then we're just going to continue to put this one together. This one's pretty much done. Now, when you use these gorgeous dies, you can choose to have the top be whichever section you want it to be. I kind of like the rounded at noon here, noon and 6, 9 and 3. We've got kind of the bigger bump outs or the scallops. I kind of like that. Now this is just going down flat because we already have a little bit of depth and dimension, but don't worry, there's more dimension coming. So how sweet are these cute little daisies just stamped in pecan, right? Like we didn't have to get fancy and try to figure out like how we got to color them and all that. It's just really cute. Now I'm taking advantage of the curve here of these dies, and I'm kind of using that curve, and I'm going to put my daisies here, kind of coming up, and then I'm going to put my leaves, which has almost a little bit of a curve too here, right? So the leaves are kind of going between 3 and 6 on the clock, if you will. So kind of coming down this way, just like that. So I'm just gluing them down perfectly flat on there. And then, oh, Love You needs to be glued together too. Or did I glue it and it slid? Oh, it slid. Okay, we're going to kind of undo here. I can see that after I glued it, I must have moved it. So we're doing a little undoing here, and we're going to do a little redoing. So if you're very careful, like this glue hadn't quite set completely. Now I know that I have like some blue on the back and all that good stuff, but I didn't tear up the outside of my pretty peacock scallop piece here. So let's see if we can't get this to stay in the middle, right there in the middle. There we go. So much better. Now this Love You is going to come right here and kind of bridge the distance and kind of make up some of this. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put my dimensionals. I'm going to do 2 of them. This is going to be dimensional. I'm going to put 2 of them right here across rather than try to guess where they need to go on here. And then when I take my backings off, I can just put this on here. I'm catching the middle of this little die piece over here, and just getting that great continuity here of all these fun little shapes, right? So look at this. We just have to add our bling, and I want to know what you think of the new and improved, right? Do you like the regular designer series paper, or do you like the specialty designer series paper? Because it really did change up this card. Actually, I think I like the specialty better. Now that I'm looking at it, after I made that decision today to use that really sweet paper, I'm just going to grab off a couple of these, and I'm just taking putting them right here in the middle of my little daisies here. So that's the only coloring I'm doing on my daisies right here. 1, 2, 3 little petal, and I could have used blue. I probably should have used blue just to see what they would look like, right? Oh, the little flowers, that's what I'm missing. So the little flowers may not really be effective now here because I used the blue. They're really going to blend in. I think I would use these instead of putting them on the outside. I would add these on the inside because I feel like this is busy enough. I don't want to necessarily add to here, if that makes sense. I feel, you know, there is a limit. Believe it or not, there's a limit on how much I can put on a card front. You might not know that, but there is a limit, so laugh with me. So I'm not going to put those little blue flowers on here. I'm going to leave them off because it is really blue. Maybe some petal pink would look nicer on there too. But that is card number 1, and just that easy. We are done with our very first card. So I hope that you guys enjoyed card number 1, and I'm glad you guys like the blue side. That is so exciting. Okay, so let me clear this one down. We're going to hop into our next card. So again, these are really elegant, pretty cards. I hope you're catching the vibe already. You're like, this is the vibe of our cards today. Card number 2. Now they're only going to get classier as we go, by the way. So now we're going to play with some Petal Pink. So this one is really pretty. This is a gorgeous card kit, and this is what your card is going to look like. So it's got the Petal Pink, again, some of this gorgeous designer series paper. We're going to use that really beautiful open die that I talked about early into the video here. This is our die that we're going to be using, and I'm going to share with you how to best adhere this, because this guy right here, he is one skinny dude, and I hate using all of the hi Kathy, so good to see you here. I hate to use all of the adhesive sheet and throw away so much of it. So here is card number 2. This one says forever and always. So it'd be a great anniversary card or a wedding card. Again, very vanilla. Oh, there's the bonus envelope in here. You're really only getting 2. You're getting, I don't know how I got an extra envelope in there. You just never know, right? Now you're going to get this great die cut right here. Again, you're making 2 cards. So this is the die right here that we're using. Now this die, I want to share with you. This is fun. This die is not from this die set. This die actually comes from, I don't know if anyone would ever guess this. It was a winter Christmas die set that carried over. It is called Labels Aglow. So this is the die right here that I used for the sentiment piece. I just felt that it had that great delicate details that really needed to be on this card for a sentiment piece. So that is actually from Labels Aglow, in case you have that at home and you're like, oh my gosh, I never would have thought to pull that out and just use that for regular sentiments. This is far from Christmas, but it works out beautifully. I also want to share with you how gorgeous this new embossing folder is. So this is a brand new one. It is in the spring catalog. It is called Layered Florals 3D Embossing Folder. So it is a 6x6, and it gives you really great depth. So the 3D embossing folders, you really do want that gray plate when you run it through your machine, because look at the detail. I don't know if you can see this or not. There is so much detail in here. It's almost like we took some embossing paste and we embossed like through a stencil. It is that thick. So it is really gorgeous, and it kind of goes into the background here on the card, but it is beautiful. So these are parts and pieces. I'm going to separate out my cards just like I normally do. Everything here is pretty much Petal Pink and very vanilla. So really delicate, soft colors. Now this is the designer series paper. We're going to flip it over here in a second, and we're going to look at the back side. So again, a big, bold pattern that you could have used on your first card if you wanted to. So when you get these card kits, I did mention that you could probably take some of the patterns and switch them to other card kits if you wanted to, because they really go really well with all 3 cards tonight. So I'm really excited about that. All right, so for this card, let me find my Petal Pink card base. Here we go. So let's put together our bones just to kind of see what you're going to get at home, even if you don't use, and I have to use the Petal Pink here. I can't switch this one up. I'm not going to make this pink and blue, although you could if you wanted to, but I'm going to, I know it's hard to put beautiful paper like this on the back side, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to put this down. This is meant to be top to bottom on your card front. This is your A2 size card base. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's a quarter sheet of cardstock. I'm sorry, it's a half a sheet of cardstock folded in half. So I put this on here, and I left a little bit of an edge here because it gives us the matted layered look that I love. Now if you don't love that, you can definitely scooch it all the way to one side or the other, but I just love all the different matting layers. I just think it adds so much elegance. All right, so I'm going to be a little bit more generous with my glue here because there are so many ups and downs here, because this piece is so deeply embossed. I want to make sure that I have enough glue on here, of course without over gluing it, so it's glopping out the ends. But I want to make sure that we have some good adhesive here, because these thicker embossed pieces, you definitely need a little bit extra. Now I find what's really nice about this one, some of the deeper embossed pieces, which I've used before, create a gap when you get to the edge from the embossed piece to the plain cardstock. This one, I feel like it does not. So this one behaves a little bit nicer than some that I have worked with. So that's kind of a bonus. There are a few out there that I work with and I'm like, wow, this embossing folder has a really harsh line to line. Okay, so I'm putting this down flat. Again, this 3D embossing folder piece here, it already gives us some great dimension, so I didn't feel like I needed to pop that up. And I left a little bit of an edging here so you can kind of see if you're counting layers across, right? You've got 4 here, you've got 2 over here. This is the bones of your card. And then you've got this item right here. So if you did nothing else with the exact same die and stamp set, this is what you're working with for your card kit. Really pretty. I just find that this is pretty. Now, Petal Pink maybe isn't my favorite color. It's kind of that peachy, corally tone. It's a light coral to me. It looks very, some of this looks kind of orangey to me. So it's not my favorite color, but layered together with this vanilla and just like this, I just think it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to talk to you about what these other pieces are for your card kit. Now I don't die cut anything that I am featuring in the bundle. So you would have to have this bundle if you wanted to die cut to get to this piece right here that goes behind. So this piece of Petal Pink is designed to die cut this cardstock, and I did actually do that ahead of time so that I didn't have to die cut everything. I just wanted to show you what it looks like when you die cut it. So when it comes out, it fits there perfectly, right? So it comes out just like this, and it is kind of delicate here, so you want to be careful. So obviously your throwaway piece. Now I have seen a card in the sample where they've actually kept this inside right here. I'm going to take this off just so you can kind of see. We're going to get it off of the all these little layers. So if you use it like I did on my card, it's an open back, right? So it's open like this. You can die cut 2 different colors, and then you can kind of do that puzzle piece where you put another color back in there if you wanted to. You could stamp on this. So you can continue to use this if you wanted to. You could glue this down just like this if you didn't want to take it apart and have it look open. So that's just something that I noticed in the catalog, and I thought that was kind of clever that you can use this just like so. Now again, when you have these really delicate little pieces, you're going to want to be very careful. I'm just going to sit here and brush this with my brush real quick. I don't have a little foam pad right now. I don't have it like out. I typically will just kind of poke away at these a little bit, brush a little bit upside down, right side up. So there's a lot of little pieces in here. If I don't get them all out, Michelle, I promise I'll try to do it later. But sometimes I just leave them and move on. So we're going to see how this works for us tonight. I mean, some of these just might stay in here for a little bit. Some of them are falling out here as we're working and bending them. So I think we're going to be good. I think what we're going to have is a mess on my work surface. And again, when you die cut this, some of these stay on your plates, so you have to kind of clean your plates up. And I think I just have one tiny little one left. For everybody out there that's like, no, you have to clean it completely. Okay, I think I did it. So there we go. And it's just really pretty. Let's remove all of these little paper bits and get those out of the way. And let's talk about how difficult it is to glue this down. This is really tiny. So what we're going to do is we're going to just add a little bit of glue. If you have like a fine tip glue, this would be a good place to pull that out too. We're going to add a little bit of glue here wherever there's like a bigger section, which to be honest is very, very, very few pieces. I think that's about it for me. I've got one, well, I could probably put one right here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 pieces. Notice I didn't glue any of this really delicate edge because it's really difficult to glue. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this down and commit it. We're committing to wherever it's going to be. We're committing it. So I'm going to put this down here and I'm just going to make sure that wherever I've got my little glue, that it's going to stay in place. And you're going to see that this whole thing is just kind of springy boingy. I don't know if you can see the movement on it, but it's just like, it's just flapping in the breeze here. So there is a reason that you're going to see a lot of the samples that show you extra pieces glued down over top of this to hold this down. So in your kit, you also have this piece of Petal Pink, which is designed to die cut this lovely little leaf that comes out of the die set. So this little leaf right here will die cut this, and we're going to actually glue this down, and then we're going to hold this little delicate edge right down And that is the secret. That is the secret right there, is just layer something over top of it. That is the best way to do that. So we're just going to bring this in here. We're going to kind of follow the curve. And once we lay this on here, make sure my glue sets, it takes care of that bouncy stuff, right? So now it's not too bad. Like this part over here that is not glued down isn't really flapping around now that we have that on there. So that's really fantastic. So we have a little bit of stamping to do, as you can see here. We're going to bring in some flowers, these beautiful flowers, and I have this one. We have the Forever and Always as our sentiment, and then there's 2 additional flowers. So these all have dies that go with them, and we're going to stamp these on this piece of paper with Petal Pink ink. So we're really keeping it Petal Pink friendly here. It's kind of a monotone card, and because of that, it just really goes together nicely. Let me move these off to the side here, and we're going to work on this, make sure I'm in screen. So you've got enough room here on this piece of paper to do all 3 of your flowers. So I'm just going to do these real quickly. 1, 2, and then 3. So there's our 3. So you can kind of see it has more of an orangey tone when I stamp it. And then I'm going to bring in the Forever and Always. Just checking to see here. I think I need to re-ink my ink pad, but we're going to stamp this right in the middle. Now, if you don't have the stamp set and you want to make a birthday card, this would be a lovely birthday card too. There we go. Forever and Always, just like so. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to die cut. So again, I did not get all the die cutting done ahead of time, so I'm going to show you the die cutting today. It's a die cutting day. Let me see. We'll bring the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine back in. I've got the platform, which is the base. I've got my shim plate, and then I've got a clear plate, which isn't very clear because it's really kind of dirty. But I keep using it because it's flat. And we're going to bring in these outline dies. We have 1 for each flower. So if I can get them lined up on here properly while we're kind of working here. I could have left a little bit more room between this one and this one. And here we go over here. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to make sure we have them lined up. There we go. All right. Normally I take the time and I cut them apart and do them. I don't do them individually, but I do like to cut them apart. But today we're just kind of winging it. There we go. We got 3 of them on there. We're going to go for it. This glass mat that I'm working on is new. And it is actually a join Stampin' Up incentive. So if you join Stampin' Up as a demonstrator during Sale-A-Bration, you can choose to get this glass mat for free. It's like a $60 value. I have been playing with it, checking it out. There are some things I really love about it. And then there's a couple things that I'm just not quite sure that I like. So, but for the most part, I really do love it. What I don't like is that on my work surface, once you're off the glass mat, there's like a bump down, because obviously my work surface doesn't have this built in. I think if I could build this into my work surface, I would love it even more. Thoughts, right? So that just bothers me a little bit, just a little bit, that I have that kind of like that edge, like things that are falling. It's not going to fall off the edge. It's going to be on my workspace, but it kind of, I feel limited in the size of the board. Maybe that's what I think is my problem. I feel limited in the size of my board, whereas my workspace just kind of goes on forever and ever, and I can just keep shifting things, moving things, stacking things, and I don't have to worry about things falling off the edge. So while I'm talking to you about what I don't like about the mat board, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of ink with my sponge dauber here around the edges. So this is kind of another way to cheat your coloring a little bit. So we stamped it in Petal Pink, and I'm doing some outline here with the same color ink. And I'm also using my dauber, and I'm just kind of brushing a little bit of ink in here as well, just to kind of soften up the vanilla paper and give these flowers just a little bit of a tint. Not a lot of color, right? I don't want I still want to be able to see the lines that I stamped, but just a little bit of color on each one. And it just really made a huge difference just by doing that. So now these little beauties can go onto our card front. So I'm going to bring the card back in here. And you can see how we're going to do this, right? Hopefully you can see. Now this one flower right here, I'm going to put a dimensional on if I can find them. Nope, over here. off the edge. It's off the edge of my mat. I mean, you can only fit so many things on the mat, right? This glass mat, so they were off the edge. Now I'm bringing this flower in and I'm kind of putting it a little bit upside down, like it's coming into the picture here. Of course, if you liked it the other way, you could do it the opposite. We're going to go ahead and add in our sentiment piece here. Again, a couple of dimensionals, all we need. Now this is where it gets tricky. We have this beautiful piece right here that's very delicate and lovely. So what I want to do, because I am covering a bunch of it up, but I still want to see some of it. So I'm going to kind of bridge the distance here. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you were screaming at me, but that was upside down. As I was trying to look to see how I wanted it to go on here, I did realize I was holding this upside down, and that would have been completely goofy. A goofy card, right? All right, so forever and always. So I made sure that I have some leaves up here. I have enough of this down here yet that I can see. And then for this little, we'll call this the medium-sized flower. The medium-sized flower, I'm going to put one dimensional toward the top of it because I want to tuck this in underneath here. So I'm kind of tucking it in and off to the side a little bit here. So I want this in here, but I don't want to cover up everything, so it's kind of peeking out a little bit. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on right around here, but I am going to use different dimensionals this time. So Stampin' Up! Has large and small, and I do use both. I probably use the large ones more often, but when I want the small ones, they sure are handy. So I'm going to just add a small one here, kind of top and bottom around my sentiment piece, so that when I put this on here, my dimensionals are built in and I don't have to worry about if I've put them in the wrong spot here, is it going to bump into this? So I can take the backings off of here. The smaller ones work really well here because I don't want the big ones on that may end up showing. I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive like right about there, as I think that's going to probably hit my sentiment piece as well. So here you just want to make sure you are wrapping your flowers around and not covering up your sentiment here. Kind of going around that little curve as well, taking advantage of all of our little curvies here. Now for this card, I definitely would like to use the Petal Pink embellishments. I definitely don't want to go crazy with the Peacock ones at this point. So we're going to put one there, and we're going to put a couple of them up here, maybe one more right over here or so, and there we go, just like that. Card number 2, a little bit more elegant. We've got more embossing showing. We definitely have that beautiful tone on tone look. So there are 2 of our cards are already completed, and we're going to move on to our final card. So I hope you guys are loving the cards. I'm just going to check comments real quick here while I get ready to bring you my last card. Hi Flo, good to see you here. Oh yes, I agree. Yeah, the mat, I wish it would be nice if it was longer, right? But you know, probably with people with smaller work surfaces are like really happy with it, and if it was longer, maybe it wouldn't fit everybody's work surface. All right, so here is the final card kit. This one is super beautiful because it has that gorgeous pretty peacock. I think during in-person class we talked quite a bit about how much we all loved Pretty Peacock. Like Pretty Peacock is pretty high up there on our love list right now. Now this beautiful ribbon right here, and this is coming in your kits, so I only have ribbon for this card. All the other cards that I'm using tonight have the embellishments, and that would be freebies for you if you order your card kits and spend $50 and all that good stuff. So here is our final card. Look at how beautiful this card is. This one has some gold in it. It's got, of course, the ribbon, which is vanilla and gold ribbon. So it's perfect for all of the vanilla accents that we're using here. And absolutely, I love this card. And I hope you can see here that this beautiful flower on here, I'm going to show you how we're going to we're going to heat emboss it first in gold, and then we're going to watercolor it. So it is really awesome. Hi, Lori. Lori likes card number 2. It is really pretty. So let's separate out our card kit here. And we're going to see we've got some the Stylish Shapes dies, which I use quite frequently. This is the 2 3/8 inch punch, so you're getting those coming to you just like that, a piece of vellum. Now this is watercolor paper. So it's a little bit thicker, it's got an interesting texture, and we're going to actually watercolor tonight. You've got some gold coming your way. That is what I used to die cut out our little circle here. You've got a little section of pretty peacock that's embossed. You've got this beautiful gold foil, and then on the opposite side you have more of the petal pink. So again, in either of the first two cards you could swap in this piece of designer series paper and change up your design a little bit if you wanted to. And that's why I wanted to keep everything kind of pretty peacock and petal pink. So you had some options there going into your cards, and to just be able to be creative and change it up a little bit if you so desire, because I know some of you are super creative that way. All right, so let me bring in my card base here. Let's put together our bones, the bones of our cards, so you can kind of see what you're gonna get if all you do is put together parts and pieces that I'm sending you. Now, I am keeping this side down because I do definitely want to, I want to keep everything nice and blue. I'm not making a pink and blue card. You certainly can if you want to. I am just making the blue card. So we're gonna go ahead and start gluing these parts and pieces down so you can kind of see what is all involved here in this one. Now I want to point out that this piece of Very Vanilla that I'm going to glue these onto has a very small matted layer. So it's actually only 1/8 of an inch bigger than the designer series paper. So it's going to be a very tight 1/8 inch, or actually it's like 1/16 of an inch around, right? So the sides, the top, right here, all you're seeing is just a peak. So just the tiniest little peak of the vanilla is coming through here. And then we've got this piece right here that is embossed. You can choose the embossed side or the debossed side. This is going to come down here on the bottom. And again, you should be able to squeeze in just the tiniest little bit. Let me pick this up real quick and make sure we're good. The tiniest little bit of an outline of the Very Vanilla. So hopefully you can kind of see that. Everything has just a little smidge of the outline. Now, if you have a hard time lining things up, overlap them if you want to. You can bring them down or up a little bit if needed. Perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with that. I just wanted to point out that it is a really tight mat. I don't always do that kind of matting. On occasion I do, but a lot of times I'm just going the 1/4 inch difference. So as in it goes on to the card base itself, again, tight matting. So it's going to be a very small surround of the peacock for the card base. But how pretty and elegant is that, right? We're going elegant. This is where we're going today. It's very elegant. Now this circle punch, we're going to stamp on this. We have our congratulations on your wedding day. So this one is going to be a wedding card. Now, if you wanted to turn this into another kind of card, change your sentiment. It's that simple, right? So we're going to go ahead and stamp this in Pretty Peacock. Again, these red rubber stamps work really nicely. I like the mat for stamping on. I feel like the surface of the mat gives me a really nice firm image. Really, I like that part of it very much. That's one of my super pluses on the plus column, and most of the glass mat really does fit the plus column for me. All right, so we're going to just go ahead and add this on here onto our circle. Again, with the stylish shapes here, you want to just make sure you're using the prettier side up, and not like my first card. We're going to make sure the glue kind of sets on here and it doesn't squiggle off to the side and get crooked on me. So there we go. So what I wanted to do is I just wanted to get to the bones of the card. Now what I'm going to do with the vellum here is I'm going to actually glue my circles to the vellum, and then the vellum is going to come over top of here. So I'm doing it in steps like this on purpose. So we all know that it can be really hard to hide anything that's to adhere vellum and hide the adhesive. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my circles over top of my vellum. And now I can see on the back side, wherever the shadow of my circle punch is, if I put the adhesive there, then I can put this on here and I know exactly where the adhesive needs to go. So it's going to be layered on here just like that. And there's no adhesive anywhere in the four corners. So these four corners are actually loose. All the adhesive is behind my circles. But that holds it down really nicely, so we don't have to worry about that whatsoever. So this is like the bones of your card. You can see how beautiful, right? So beautiful. And of course you have your beautiful ribbon and then the foil piece. Now this foil piece is meant to die cut out. As I mentioned at the beginning, love these dies. I absolutely adore the dies. I really do like a nice wreath die as well, but these are really delicate. So again, with the foil, you would die cut out this wreath. So you can see here, it's got that really tiny narrow outline wherever the leaves aren't. So it is, again, really difficult to glue down. So what we're going to do is we're just going to adhere down wherever we can on the leaves. But before we do that, I just wanted to make sure I'm putting this down kind of in this direction. So I've got my leaves here are kind of between 9 and noon and kind of 3 and 6, and that's just so that I have room to put my flowers over here with my ribbon. Now if you were doing something completely different, you could choose to go more side to side, you could do more top to bottom. So you can see here how it changes the card look if you move them around a little bit. So I'm just going to add, again, tiniest little bits of glue to the leaves. I'm not really squeezing the bottle. I'm just letting whatever ink kind of drips. I'm squeezing the bottle a little bit. I'm not saying I'm not squeezing it. I'm just not squishing out like gobs of ink. So I'm just letting a little bit of glue come off the tip of that. Now, since there's no glue here, at least we have something we can hold on to, right? So we don't have to get our fingers completely filthy. So again, I'm going to kind of layer it this way. And then I'm going to, I don't think I have a paper handy. If I had a paper handy right now, I would probably put the paper over top of that and just bring that down right over top. We'll just flip it over. Now that I've got it kind of secured, I didn't want to flip it too soon. I figured, you know, my wreath might shift in that transit, and then that would be another tragedy, right? So that really sweet, I mean, so elegant, that little gold foil that comes around there is so beautiful. But there's more. We're not done yet. We're going to do something really fun with our beautiful flowers. I just need to make sure that this is clean first. So let me clean this off real quick, because we did use it on another card. Okay, so this is that kind of trio of rose flowers, which is super gorgeous, and we're going to heat emboss it. So the first step of heat embossing is find your heat embossing stuff. That's the first step. I couldn't remember where I left it. All right, we're going to start with the Emboss Buddy. That's what we're going to do first. We're going to just powder this up a little bit, and the watercolor paper, while this looks kind of white, it's more off-white, so it works really good with the vanilla as well. And once we color it in, you won't even know what color the watercolor paper was to begin with. All right, so I'm just getting everything ready here. I want to have my embossing powder ready to go right away, because I like to do the stamping and then immediately get the powder on there so that we don't have any problems. Actually, I'm going to put this upside down and make sure when you emboss, you want to make sure that your Versamark ink pad is super juicy. I just re-inked this up for my class because we did a little embossing, and this can just come right here on the middle. Now again, we're going to just kind of push that into our paper, make sure we get a good image here, right? And immediately we're going to go ahead and put that on there. So there you can see that I've got that on there just like that. Oh, and I dropped it, but we're good. We're still good. We're still good. Okay, so where my finger was originally, right down here, you can see where there was some powder that stuck there from the static or oils from my finger, but for the most part, the rest of it is good. We're gonna die cut it and all that good stuff. So let me move my powder aside. We definitely don't need any craft settings today. I'm gonna bring in my tweezers, put this on my glass mat, and heat up my tool for a second. So the glass mat, you can heat emboss right on. You don't have to worry about melting your table. So that's kind of a plus too. The glass mat is excellent for that. I typically hold my paper up with something anyway, but it is nice to know that if you wanted to, you could leave it right here on the glass mat, and then you don't have to worry about that. All right, so this is just starting to turn a little bit, so you can kind of see it going from the dull powder to shiny. I like to turn my paper a little bit in the light just so I can see where I need to continue to move my heat tool to and get all those bits. I think that's good. All right, so we're gonna turn that off, but we may still use this today too. So let me just So now we have this. Now this is gorgeous just like this. You could probably die cut this, put this on your card, and it would be pretty because, again, all the gold and all the great details, right? But I wanted to color mine in a little bit, and I wanted to give it some color. So we're going to, first I want to take any powder off my glass mat, and then we're going to bring in Pretty Peacock ink, Pool Party ink. That's what I'm coloring with today. I've got one of these water painters, and I have a little cup of water, right? So a little plastic cup of water. And typically at this point, up to this point I should say, I always used a clear block, and I added my little drop of inker onto the clear block, and that's what I used. But now that we have this glass mat, we can just use the glass mat, right? So it's just right, like, I just need a tiniest little bit. I'm pretty sure I inked up my finger too. I do have paper towels. This is a wet medium here, so we're going to kind of keep the paper towel handy. All right, so to do the flower, what I'm going to do first, I have water in the barrel, but I'm not really going to use that. I'm actually going to just use this water that's in my cup. I find that's way easier. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of add water to my flower areas only. So and the water will sit here a little bit on top before it soaks in. It'll sit here for a bit. So I'm just adding the water just to those 3 sections, and I'm going to kind of mix in a little bit of water over here with this Pretty Peacock over here. Hopefully you can see that. And then I've got some on my brush, and I'm just going to kind of bring it in here, and wherever the water is, if it's not wet enough, add more water. We're going to just let that kind of run a little bit, and then more water is going to make it a little bit lighter, obviously, right? And then less water is going to make it a little bit darker, so it's not as diluted. So I'm just going to, now the great thing about doing this with the heat embossed image is that the embossing part raises the edges a little bit, and it keeps all these little watercolor inks from kind of spreading around here. So you can see how it kind of it spreads out a little bit. So now we have some very pretty blue flowers, right? And now we're going to just go ahead and do, I have this little paper towel here off to the side. I'm just going to squeeze some water out now. I'm actually using that more for cleaning than for watercoloring today. So we're going to just bring in, again, water, and we're going to water our leaves. That kind of sounds funny. We're watering our leaves here, guys. We're just going to add some water here onto the 3 leaves. And this time I'm going to mix up a little bit of water here with the Pool Party. And now I'm going to bring this in, and this adds a little bit of green. Now the Pool Party is a little bit blue in nature, so it really helps, again, with the blending of colors in this card. I wanted to keep everything kind of monotone, right? So we've got the blues, but the Pool Party and the I think we're good here. The Pool Party and the Pretty Peacock, they really go well together. So there we go. So there is my coloring. So it's still a little bit wet, but we can dry that up pretty quickly. And then a baby wipe. I'm just going to use my paper towel, clean off my little space here, move my cup to the side, hopefully not spill it later. So bonus number, I don't know how many bonuses I'm on, but with the glass mat, if I was to spill that little cup of water right now, anything that is underneath and around my glass mat would get wet. Anything that's on my glass mat, as I move my card over, will stay dry. So this is kind of like dry land territory, which is nice. Now, this is still wet, and I do need to die cut it. So I'm actually going to bring my heat tool in, and I'm going to put it on the lower setting, and we're just going to we're going to dry this real quick. Now you could blot some of this too. Blotting will take some of the color off. So this is a great way, again, to use the glass mat, so I don't have to worry about holding on to this right now. I'm just letting this dry my colors. Is really pretty, isn't it? And once that's all really well and dry, we're gonna just die cut this and put this on our card. So it's that easy. So I always recommend, if you love this and you're like, oh my gosh, I wanna make this, I wanna do that technique right here, I would recommend you stamp, emboss, a whole bunch of them all at once. Just have some. You don't have to color them all now, but if you have a whole bunch of these ready to go, the actual watercoloring part is pretty simple, right? It's the whole, like, I have to emboss it and all that good stuff that may take a little bit longer. So if you have some of these just stacked up and ready to go somewhere, you would be able to make these pretty much any time, right? It would be just so much easier that way. All right, so we're going to just put our little die right over top of that. Send this through our die cut machine. And we are almost done with this card. So you can see that by drying it with the heat tool, it dries pretty quickly. And it didn't curl up or anything. It's just, watercolor paper is fantastic paper. I'm just going to say that right now. Now, not every little section of that is colored in, which I also think is kind of nice, right? It gives it kind of a one of a kind, right? These are all one of a kind cards. So we're going to put this on here. We're doing the same thing here with the curving. We're going to put a couple of dimensionals here on the back of this one. And we're going to use that little curve of our wreath here and kind of bring this up, making sure we're not covering up our sentiment piece. So it's on there just like so. Isn't that gorgeous? And somewhere I have some ribbon. So I did include a little bit of ribbon here with this kit. Sometimes your freebie is ribbon. Sometimes it's embellishments. This class happens to be the embellishments. But I really wanted to put the ribbon on here because I felt like this ribbon was just, I mean, it couldn't be more perfect, right? Just so pretty. Beautiful little wedding card here. And again, this doesn't have to be a wedding card, but it sure is fancy, isn't it? So I like to use tear and tape on the back of my bows. Just kind of manipulate that around a little bit. I'm going to tuck this kind of right underneath my flowers. I would probably trim these ends just a smidge. They don't look too horribly bad, but we'll just bring this in. Cut just a little bit off of there, right? And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add in some bling. So this one, we're going to use these pretty peacock. I don't know if I pointed out or not, but there's like gold little shiny foil pieces kind of inside these little embellishments, which is really cool. I like how they make everything fancy nowadays, right? So there we go. We've got some really sweet, pretty peacock embellishments on our pretty peacock card. Beautiful wedding, fancy and fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the technique with the watercoloring. So I've showed you watercoloring. I've showed you just inking and sponging. That's another way you can color your cards. And then this one, just leave them uncolored, right? And we did play with a couple of those papers, right? We flipped the paper over on one. So we did one already. I haven't done a color swap card yet, but I will be color swapping one of these. So this is your card kit offer for this week. They're beautiful, gorgeous cards, really rich and pretty, and definitely not Valentine's Day. As I talked about earlier, thanks, Patty. Patty says they're pretty cards. Michelle likes the third one. It's no surprise to me, Michelle, because it's pretty peacock, and I know how much you love that too. Lori says number 3 is most elegant. Yes, I saved the best for last, of course, right? It is a gorgeous card combination. The papers are beautiful. They've got the foil. It is a specialty paper pack. So it's got foil on one side. The gold foils make it fancy, and pretty much everything about it, right? Adding vellum is a nice little technique. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this class. And thanks, Lexi. She likes the card. This is a really nice card set. So not Valentine-y. They could be. You could turn them into Valentine's cards if you wanted to. But they are definitely love-themed cards. They would be great for Mother's Day. You know, birthdays, female birthdays, right? They're so elegant and pretty. All you have to do is really change out the sentiments. So thanks, Bonnie. Bonnie loves all of them too. If you're interested, this offer for these card kits is available through Friday evening with a $40 order with my host code. You get 6 card kits. $50 order gets you the card kits, the pack of embellishments, and a Sale-A-Bration item that comes from Stampin' Up. If you guys have any questions on any of that, please reach out. I will be back Wednesday over on Positive Paper Crafters. One of these cards is going to get a color swap. We're going to change it up, and then you get to vote on which one, who wore it better. I call it who wore it better, so you can decide who wore it better. And then I'll be back Thursday for a fun fold at 3. So there's lots more coming this week while we explore the Lifetime of Love bundle by Stampin' Up. So thank you so much for joining me for this weekly card class from Maine. I will check back through your comments in case you guys have any questions. I appreciate all the love you give me too. So thank you so much for spending some time with me. Until next time, stay inspired, create something beautiful, and share the love. Bye, everybody.